Good morning. We are live on the Calm stream. Are you hydrated? Are you moisturized? Did you say your prayers? Did you do your morning stretches? If those are things that you do, hope you're having a good morning. I hope you had good sleep. And if not, I hope your day will go a bit better. We're not going to be drawing any layouts today. We're doing character design because the next page of this comic is involves new characters. We're introducing new characters, and we're introducing them sooner than I thought we would. I thought we would be introducing them in the next episode of the show, but turns out we're not. So we have to do some character design, which is not an easy thing to do. So we're going to start with designing a ranger, and this ranger is going to be wearing a ball cap. So I've been practicing drawing characters with ball caps, and I've been practicing in the manga style. I think I might, and it's still early in the comic, that I can adjust my approach and go redraw some faces if I need to, even spirit girls. So I think I might go manga style for the faces, because I was reading this book, which is The Ultimate Guide to Making Comics by Scott McCloud, who is absolute master of comics art, the medium, master of the medium, and how to kind of break it down, how to make the most use of it. Excuse me. And he was discussing this. This is something he discussed in Understanding Comics as well. He was talking about how when he was working at DC, he lived just a couple of blocks away from a Japanese bookstore. And on his lunch breaks, he would go to that bookstore and read the comics. Even though he couldn't read Japanese, he'd read the art, and he found some essential differences. And one of these is iconic characters, simple emotive faces and figures, which led to the kind of reader identification I talked about in Understanding Comics. So he provides examples here, like characters with very big eyes. I'm not going to go that extreme, but cartooned faces, but involved backgrounds. It doesn't show it here, but I can show you an example. I bought this yesterday, Momo the Legendary Warrior. This is a manga, and the manga come in digest size, as opposed to most of the American comics who come in this format. And if you look here, this one was $13 in 1986. This one's $14 in 2024. So they don't color them, and they print them smaller. So the there's a bunch of cost saving measures that the manga producers implement to keep their books more affordable. And this is an example of hyper detailed world building and backgrounds, but the characters' faces are cartooned, even though maybe their clothing is quite... Of course, not all manga are the same, but this is just an example, right? So very detailed environments, but the characters are hyper emotive. So, and this does read as a beautiful woman, even though there's not a lot of details, except there's a lot of care put into the eyes. Also, I have difficulty drawing hair, and this girl's got, actually, coincidentally, similar hairstyle to Spirit Girl in a way, in that, let's see if I can find yeah, she's got bangs, and the back of her hair is tied up, and it's got a separate chunk of hair. So I will be using this to inspire myself to draw Spirit Girl. So all that to say, in designing our ranger, we're going to be studying manga to see if I can incorporate some of the design elements of manga characters into my own style, my own searching squiggly line style. Just checking on the chat. Life, Mr. Life, top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you too. Grateful Dog. Morning, Ulysses. Well, good morning to you too, Mr. Grateful Dog. I hope your morning is calm as well. I hope you're warm. I hope you're hydrated and moisturized. Alright, let's took a Grateful Dog. It's Gamma. Oh, Gamma. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. Glad you're able to make it to one of these calm streams, if but for a moment. Looking forward to our next podcast. So because my ranger wears a baseball cap, I just went on Pinterest and searched baseball manga, and I'm just gonna start copying manga baseball characters in manga style and seeing where it takes us. How about this one? That's a little much, eh? Okay. Let's stay focused on the task at hand here. So we want them wearing ball caps. We don't want the stuff that's super emotive. Let's try this guy. So, gonna do a little sketch and enjoy the music. See how this turns out. So the male manga face tends to be relatively wide, but the chin comes in thin, which is typically what I would intuitively reserve for a female face. Interesting. So the eye here is just cartooned straight into the eyebrow. And the pupil is oval. All they do is they draw like a highlight in the pupil, instead of like drawing the physical features of the eye, of the like eyeball. Just stick to just stick to how the light hits it, and they kind of iconicize that. And for some reason, I always find drawing the left side, like this side of the face, more difficult. So in doing this exercise, I'm already learning a lot about which details to emphasize and which to ignore. And as always, the trick is to just make a mess and go clean it up after. To me, this nose straight down line is a little too much. So I'm going to improve it like this. Improve it in the sense that make it more to my preference. And the face, just the mouth, just a line to indicate the character's emotional state. Ball caps are surprisingly difficult to draw. It's like where exactly they bend is a real trick. I'm not like deep into manga yet, but I have read following one series called Die Dark, and I think I'll be following this series I mentioned earlier, Momo Legendary Warrior. I haven't quite finished yet, but if it ends well, then I will continue. Gamma, have you gone down the manga rabbit hole yet? Have you read manga comics? There's quite a few available at the library. I find it's quite popular with the kids. I did watch the anime One Piece first episode. It's very good, very well done. It's a little like exaggerated and loud, and so I don't think I'll continue. It's not calm, but I did find one called Exception. It's very good anime. If you can find it, it's on Netflix. It's about it's a sci-fi. It takes place in the future, and these human beings are on a mission to terraform a planet far away, many light years away. And they can travel there quickly, but it's through subspace. I got a problem with the location of my ear here. And but human beings can't travel in subspace. They get broken up. So what they do is they send human beings on a spaceship that will get there 100 years later. And they send a spaceship with no human beings on it, but it's a spaceship that can print human beings once it arrives at the planet. So they've got a human printer on the ship, and they send it there. Once they're at the planet, then they print the crew. But while printing one of the crewmates, there's a solar flare, and the printing comes out wrong, and the guy comes out as half human and half monster. So the question becomes, should we exterminate him? Is he really human? And it goes from there, and it's really a good story, and all the characters react differently to the situation, and each episode gets more intense. Recommend it. Grateful Dog. I'm still reading Sakamoto Days, as well as a H.P. Lovecraft adaptation manga. Interesting, never heard of that. Kaiju number 8 has also been a fun manga so far. Cool. We should do some manga reviews on the podcast someday. That's our guy. Interesting experiment. I learned some stuff. I'm overthinking when I'm drawing faces. It's teaching me to relax. And kind of take it easy, and over exaggerate the eyes. The eye holes, the eyeballs here are almost about like the same size as the eye holes in the skull. So it's anatomically incorrect, but looks cool. Let's try another one. How about this guy? Low angle. starting to get a like a visual feel for the shape of the face. So this character here, the eyebrows closer together, smaller eyes. The way they're drawn is the top of the eyelid is sharp and heavy. The bottom is, the eyelid is incomplete. Pupil is not finished, and the way they show that it's a pupil is they gray it out like that. Cool technique. This guy, very simple. No, not lines for the nose. So you just gotta imagine where the nostril is, because the edge of the inside edge of your pupil, of the eye, what is it, the tear duct, is lined up with your nostril. If you look in the mirror, that's how it works. So if you're not drawing completely the eye, you have to like draw it with your mind. They do emphasize the top of the lip here. Small mouth. The way they do the highlight, the light hitting the lip, is they just do an unfinished line here. So that's the light hitting the lip. Just a little shadow under the lip. Interesting. Grateful Dog, I'll have to send you a picture of a drawing from a Judge Dredd comic that just astounded me. Yeah, man, send me that on Discord. I'd love to look at drawings. I'd love to know what kind of art that inspires you. think I'll just have to buy a baseball cap. So that I can practice drawing, create like my own references for how the head looks with a baseball cap on. I did not expect that drawing a baseball cap would be my biggest drawing challenge. Okay, interesting. Find to complete the effect of the baseball cap is you do this shadow here. Just for fun. Let's go with the brush pen. Just for playing. It's not a serious session, this one. Practice with the brush pen. The way the brush pen works is the tip, I don't know if you can see. Just get the damn thing to focus. There. The tip is sharp, but it's springy, so it bends. So it's like a brush, but it's like a hard brush. So you can do small line, but you can do line variation as well, right? The thick to thin So it's brush-like. If this was a full sketch, the way I'd do the pupils there would be using screen tone. Mr. Life sharp pen. Yeah, it's a cool pen. I mean, it's basically like a beginner actual ink brush, which are pricey, and I think if I practice long enough with this, I can move to synthetic brush, which looks like a small version of this. So like this is would be like a thick synthetic brush, and then you move to. Well, once I've practiced with that, I can move up to the sable brush, which is what the masters use. And so I think, but to do Spirit Girl, if I alternate between these tools. I ordered some new ones, but this is my thin line pen nib this is a dip in ink, and this will be my thick and variable line pen nib. But these, they make a very good satisfying line, but because they're super responsive, they tend to translate every little shake of my hand, so the lines are a little bit more scratchy and wobbly. With this, I tend to have a little bit more stable line, so I think I'll use this in combination with this and this for backgrounds, maybe this more for figures and faces, because I like the effect here. Let's do an erase, see how it looks. Must be dry now. That's another thing with the brush pen. It's a thick, quick dry pen, quick dry ink. So I think before I start inking Spirit Girl, which is going to happen this summer sometime, I'm going to stock up on these brush pens and buy new ink pots. You can really see the drawing come to life when you do your erasing. was our manga study for the morning of April 17, 2024. Thanks for joining me. Mr. Life, as always, loyal listener of the CALMstream, and grateful dog who dropped by, much appreciated. Mr. Gamma. Yeah. comicbookodyssey.substack.com for those who don't know it yet. That's where all my comic book stuff is going. And this is where I apply what I learned from the CALMstream to my comic book that I'm working on called Spirit Girl. I hope you have a good day, a good calm day. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.